And so here we are, 2021. Lots of stuff going on. And I want to talk about something that is so important right now, and I know you'll agree. And the topic today is matching the vibration of love. And the reason I'm using vibration, and sometimes I'll use frequency and all of these different terms, is because Nikola Tesla said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think of it in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So we are energetic beings, we are energy fields. And if you know anything about Eastern religion, they talk a lot about chakras. And that's become really popular in the Western culture. And chakras are energy centers that go up and down the spine of your body. And they say once you start opening those, you develop this energetic field, this electromagnetic field around you. And the earth has an electromagnetic field. And so we are vibrating when we unlock those chakras, when we know who we are, when we get in touch with that God within us. Ernest Holmes talked about science of mind so that we could open up all of these chakras and have this huge energy field that can change the world. So what do we want to do in 2021? Well, as light bearers, as energy frequency beings, as Christ consciousness people, we want to change the world. And guess what? We're equipped to do it. We were sent here at this particular time on the planet to do that. And so if there's a mission that we step forward to say, yeah, I'll go. This is it. This is our time. So imagine a coach. You've been training all of these years. You're in the locker room. You're getting ready to go out onto the field, and the coach says, this is it. This is where the rubber meets the road. Remember when we were doing the practice at nighttime? And you didn't want to go to practice, but you did it, and you were hungry, and you did. Remember that? Remember all those times when you didn't want to do the music lesson, but you did the music lesson, and now it's the concert time? This is it. This is our time to shine. And we're equipped to do it because the people that have not been looking, seeking that spiritual center, that God within them, they're having a rough time right now. They had a rough time in 2022. Let me tell you, I'm a mental health therapist. I work for a company called Talkspace. It's online therapy. And we were swamped. Every state in the union, we were swamped. Because now people could use their iPhone or their smartphone to get therapy instead of going to an office. And so there were many people, and Talkspace gave away many hours of therapy because people were having mental health crises. We had high suicide rates in this country in particular. So not just a pandemic and racial justice, all of those things colliding at the same time. And people were unequipped because they did not have a center within them that was filled with God. God knowing, which is a stabilizer. And in the Bible, it talks about you don't want to build your house on sand. And it kind of even reminds me of the Three Little Pigs, where it's like you want to build your house real solid because the pandemic can blow it right down. This black, white, white power structure, all this stuff that's going on right now, that can blow it down. But when you have a solid structure and you've had spiritual practices in place before 2020, you're in a better position to be a way shower and an example of what stability looks like. Because let me tell you what that heart center does. When you have that heart center, it's centered on God. There can be chaos all around you. And we saw that in 2020 and 2021. We're seeing it now. Chaos can be all around you, but inside of you is there peace. Inside of you is there intuition that tells you, yeah, okay, let's pay attention to this, and this is what we're going to do in regards to that. And then let everything else blow over. That's what the heart center will do. It will give you focus, it will give you clarity, it will give you stability, which is so important. And we've seen how spirituality is not some woo-woo thing. Oh, you can laugh all you want, people who don't know about spirituality. But let me tell you, it grounds you into the earth. And you watch people just blow right by that have no anchor in God. So we were called at this particular time to be way showers, to be light bearers. What does that mean? That means that in a time of chaos and darkness, they always say, you are the light. Now there's nothing to be afraid of when I talk about darkness, because Einstein said darkness is just the absence of light. So when you show up and you have your God center within you, guess what? You're bringing light. You're bringing truth. You're bringing integrity. You're bringing compassion. You're bringing all of those things where it was lacking before. This is why we're here at this time. Because there are many people that have been programmed to look out for themselves and themselves alone. There are many people on this planet that don't know what light feels like. They're not familiar with it. So they're operating under a different set of instructions. And we talked about that before. So I want you to know that I've had a spiritual experience that brings me, I've had many spiritual experiences that bring me to this knowledge. So it's not just knowledge from a book. I've had spiritual experiences, which are so key and important to stand in the knowing of how powerful light is. So I want to talk about a couple of those experiences with you today. One of them, well, all of them were life-changing. But there was a point in my life where I was operating off of survival. When you're operating off of survival only, you're in defense mode. So anytime somebody does something, it's against you, and you feel victimized. And so then you get in your survival defenses of defending yourself, and pretty soon both of you are in the dark. So I was operating from survival. And one of the reasons, and I didn't know it at the time, one of the reasons why I was having difficulty at work, I worked for the county, I was a therapist, I was having difficulty at work with my boss. I thought he was an idiot, and it showed that I felt that way, so we were in conflict, obviously. We were polars. We were polar opposite, and we were headbutting. So I didn't like going to work. It was a horrible place to be, and I dreaded it, and I was having a hard time with coworkers, and I saw him as the other, and I was over here, and I could never be like this, and he's like this, and polar opposites. Does this sound familiar with what's going on in our country and in the world? So I was driving to work, and I was on autopilot. This was in the 90s. And I just dropped off my 2-year-old at the daycare. I'm rushing to work. I'm going on the same freeway. All of a sudden, because I'm on autopilot, I see a blank stage in my mind. I'm on the freeway. So instead of seeing cars in the road, I see a blank stage in my mind. And on that stage is Jesus. And Jesus is telling me some stuff. And I'm listening. And the next thing I remember, I'm in the parking lot of my job, not at my regular parking stall. I don't remember getting off the freeway. I don't remember what Jesus said. I just remember that there are tears coming down off my face. And I really loved my dad. Now let me tell you about my dad. I had like a 30-year hate thing going on with my dad. I had like resentment up the wahoo. I didn't appreciate anything that he did when I was growing up. He was an alcoholic. I could give you a file cabinet, not now, but back in the day, of why I shouldn't love my dad. So cut to now, I'm in the parking lot, tears streaming down my face, loving everything about my dad. So let me tell you in English the best way that I can explain it, because I'm sure there are words that are better in Sanskrit because they can describe spiritual experiences better than the English language, but let me try. It felt like God had energized me with a love for this person that I said that I hated, but now I loved him from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet. I love him without changing anything about him. And I'd never felt that kind of love before, and I certainly had never felt it towards another person. So at first I thought it was God somewhere out there energizing me with love towards this other person. But it wasn't that at all. It was God bursting from inside of me, loving that person, which was also the things that I had never accepted about myself. I was loving my dad and me at the same time. It was me loving my dad, but then I also felt my dad. And I felt him trying to love me. It sounds wacky, but you guys know that this energy is inside of each and every one of us. And it's hard to explain that my dad was inside me, God was inside me. I was loving God and him and me all at the same time. And then I started to see my boss. My boss was now in my heart, and I just loved him. This guy that I was calling an idiot for like forever, I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that because I love him so much. So I started to be one with people, not people that love me or that I love, but I was starting to love people that I didn't like. I couldn't explain that other than God. That was a shocking, life-changing experience. Now, I heard a yogi say this once. He said, so what if you see God? So what if you feel God? What changes were made afterwards? He said, I could see a banana. I could see God. What will change you from that day forward. So what I did was, I went to my boss and I told him all the underhanded conversations I had with his boss about him. Ooh, I had a fight with myself that day because I didn't want to do it. But I was changed. I couldn't be the survival person that was trying to undermine who I thought was the enemy. He wasn't the enemy anymore. I was changed and transformed. So I needed to go and tell my boss about all the conversations. I'm talking about what I said about him to his face other than behind his back. Because I had experienced that thing that people talk about. Love is all there is. There's only one mind. It's different when you say the words and then when you have an experience that's like, wow. I felt everybody at the same time. So when you say namaste, and it says, I honor the spirit that is in you, that is also within me, it takes on a whole different meaning. I had an experience. So now I'm like, why did I have that experience? Because I'm living in this time right now, where people are polar opposites. And they even use words like polarization. You know what I call it? I call it divine division. Because that's where the magic happens, people. Everything we've been taught in science of mind, in unity, in all of these wonderful teachings of Jesus, we get to put it into practice. How awesome is that? Change is not made when we're comfortable. You're sitting in that chair, you're not going to move unless you get a cramp in your leg and you move over here. Unless your back hurts and you put a pillow under it. That's when you move. Oh, things are uncomfortable. And guess what? They're going to get even more uncomfortable because change is here. Change is now. And the whole system's going to crumble, and things are crumbling now. You can see it. Things are different. Well, wow. We've never had young people, millennials, get on Reddit and just go to the stock market and do stuff. We need to shut this stuff down. That's too big. That's different. They need to know they don't have the power. Oh, baby. This generation, the millennials, this generation is not interested in your tradition the way it's always been, status quo. Oh, things are going to get shaken up, and things are getting shaken up. Why is that? Because change is here and now. And as the love bearers, as the light bearers, the vibration of love. If you look at it like, remember when I was talking about the chakras are all aligned and you have this electromagnetic energy and all of these things going on, you're powerful beings. The planet is waking up to the fact of how powerful we are because we've been dummied down. And it's in our media and everything, and they tell us all these things about who we are, and it's certainly not powerful. But we know how powerful we are because we've been doing these practices and we've been knowing this science of mind. So when we're powerful and we send those waves, let's do a physics lesson real quick. Now, you know, in CERN, they're trying to find, or they found the God particle. So the God particle, they're trying to create something from nothing. They're trying to smash some protons into each other at high speeds, and from that, they're going to create what? Another Earth, a black hole, who knows? What I know for sure is that we are creators, that there is God particle inside of us. When we open our chakras, meaning that we get out of our survival mode and we stop dwelling on the trauma and we start forgiving people and we start, that's opening up all of your chakras, getting rid of all the yucky stuff. That's the scientific term. Getting rid of all the yucky stuff, which is what I needed to do with my dad. I didn't know that. God knew that. So when we start getting rid of all the yucky stuff, all the stuff that blocks us from loving fully, we release the God particle within us. And that wave in quantum mechanics, that wave changes things. We are the ones that have to see that change first, because we know that we're powerful beings. I want to see a world that works for everybody. What does that mean? That means the stock market has to be different. That means financial systems have to be different. That means that employers have to be different. That means politics has to be different. You name it. The healthcare system has to be different. A world that works for everybody, go down all the systems. The education system needs to be different. I'm not limiting my scope. I want change in all systems, because everything has to work for everybody when you're vibrating with love. It's not just about me. It's not just about tradition. It's not just about that's the way it's always been. It has to be, I'm here on this planet to increase my vibration. It's going to match love, and there's nothing more powerful than love. And why is that? Because I don't give it that power. They say, oh, the 1% holds all the power. Not in my world. I don't buy into that. And my frequency is stronger than that. That it's going to be, as the Hopi Prophecy said, the rainbow children come on the planet. And they care about everything. The planet, the animals, people, brown people, Caucasian people, all kinds of people. That there's no one superior race. It's the rainbow children. And they're all vibrating with the frequency of love. And if you can't handle that frequency, because it is a higher frequency, then the world will be vibrating at a higher frequency than you. And you won't have power. You won't have energetic power. I wanted to read something that Ernest Holmes wrote. And he says, love is within us. It cannot be destroyed. It can be ignored. To the extent that we abandon love, we will feel it has abandoned us. Denying love is our only problem, and embracing it is the only answer. Through the power of love, we can let go of past history and begin again. Love heals, love forgives, and love makes whole. Love makes whole. Meaning with love, there's no lack, no limitation, so I don't have to hoard. I don't have to feel that someone is unworthy, because love brings everybody in. I felt everybody at the same time. How is that possible? How is that possible? So when I watch the news, when I am at an event, when I've experienced what people say is a polarization, I see it as, because I know who I am, I automatically know who you are. And you don't have to like me. You don't have to like my skin color or my gender. You can even have dark thoughts about me or about someone that looks like me. But oh baby, you're no match for what is inside both of us. The only way, and I see people talking about this on the news, to perceive this reality of wholeness is that there is no polarization. This is a perception change that comes from this energy I was talking about. When all of the yucky stuff that holds us and blocks us from loving fully, when all of that is directed towards wholeness, that's all I see. That's all I know to be true. I have had experiences with this. So sometimes when people hear me talking about love, they think about a romantic love. Romantic love is fine, but this is a limiting view. Right now we need a love that is all about wholeness, seeing people. You stop using the word other, because my boss and my dad were not an other. They were in my heart, and I just loved both of them. And as I loved both of them, I was loving myself. I had extreme self-love at the same time. And so when someone, they call them haters now, when someone is a hater, they're in survival mode. I've been there. I know what that is. You're in defense, because that's how you survive. But I came on the planet to give you life and to give it more abundantly. Opening it up wide and big, out of the limitations and into the vibration of love. Let's take a deep breath. Let's do an affirming prayer. Affirming prayer is where we're coming from, that space of wholeness and completeness and light-bearing souls. We're just God beings walking on this planet. So take a deep breath. And I want to start with thank you. Thank you for this mission. Thank you for allowing all of us to be here to witness what love can do, what this powerful energy can do. Thank you for the God particle within each of us. And when it is awakened, there is no power on earth that is greater than the power within us. So when I see darkness, I say, oh, well, light bearers need to be there. We need to speak up. We need to align our hearts and minds to what we know is possible and affirm it. And so right now I am affirming joy and peace. And right now joy and peace is going to seek out on all over this globe. It's going to seek out places where it is needed. And it's going to be inspirational to many people. We claim that right now. We know that to be true, that all we have to do is speak it and think it, and things change. That's how powerful we are. And so this is a time where people are uncomfortable. This is a time for change. This is the time that I wanted to be here. And I know that by awakening our hearts, we will know that, oh, that's why I'm here. That's why I moved here. That's why this happened. That's why this happened. So that I could be here now to be present at this miraculous love time. It's a love fest. Let's take a deep breath. The planets are aligned to help us out in energetic ways. Such a beautiful experience to transmute everything into the vibration of love. So grateful. And so it is.